Let's not waste any time today. Let's jump right into this topic, and we're going to start that with permanent ownership. Streaming platforms change. They come, they go. They offer different services. The apps change. You guys know how this goes. Basically, it's just the standard life cycle of an application. There's just a lot of flux in general in this space, but today we're going to compare that to the trusty old CD. Well, we cover 3 reasons CDs, they're probably still going to be relevant 20 years from now, and 1 reason that they might cease to exist. Let's highlight and review this little CD transport from SMSL that's actually a pretty sweet little device. This is the SMSL PL200T. It may look familiar to the previous release, the PL200, but this is actually the new T version, which stands for transport. If you're unaware, when I say CD transport, just think about the DAC, or the absence of DAC in this case. This is for the user who wants a dedicated CD player and likely already has a DAC that they plan to utilize. Getting back to the ownership topic, the CD is great because it's immune to the corporate decisions, meaning there isn't a risk for an entire catalog of music to be removed overnight from your favorite streaming service. I find it highly unlikely anyone plans to kick down my door tomorrow and take, my collective soul CD. On the streaming side though, it's not unheard of. Just one quick example is Neil Young pulling all of his music from streaming platforms. He still came back and it was just a temporary protest, but it's not the first or last time that we're gonna see this. It's kind of like here today, gone tomorrow. As streaming platforms change, one constant is the physical CD player itself. They've, came in many different forms over the years, peaking in popularity within car audio, then riding off into the sunset when newer vehicles all but eliminated where the vast majority of CD players lived. But home and portable CD players still live on today, and today we're going to check out this SMSL PL200T. The good news about this little heavy guy is it offers about all you could ask for as far as connections to get out to a DAC of your choosing. We have I2S, AES, coax, and optical. What I appreciate on this one is some of the high-end connections they went with here. Coax and optical are absolutely fine, and it's what I would say that I use most of the time. But it's also nice to see that AES as well as I2S. There's a number of users who do appreciate those. There won't be a deep dive on sound quality on the discussion today, as CD transports are greatly influenced by the downstream DAC. It's one of those devices where as long as they build a proper unit, and this one certainly is in this case, the DAC can carry the unit a long ways. So while we won't dive into the sound quality so much, I do want to give a clear picture of what it's like to live with day to day on a device like this. It's a different but really fun device. If you guys, gals like this type of video, please send a like, comment, even better yet, a subscription this way. It opens up more possibilities for the channel. Some of the products that I have in right now should really make some great content. Come on over, join the community. On to streaming surveillance. For all we know, our future outlook is ads between tracks on paid streaming services. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I also didn't expect to see nonstop commercials in our video streaming services that we moved to so that we could specifically avoid the ads. We're back. I do love streaming, don't get me wrong. I use it nearly every day to some extent and have multiple music streaming services that I'm subscribed to. But I also acknowledge that they're keeping track of every track I play, how long I listen, cross-referencing it with other users' data to basically program me to what they want me to listen to. There's a part of me that's okay with this because it opens me up to new music that, I might like and I might not discover on my own without that help. But the other part of me just wants the freedom to discover, without the big brother algorithm profiling my every move. When I take out a CD and put it into the SMSL self-developed PASS servo system, PASS is just an acronym for Precision Access Servo System. It's their in-house design to, in theory, reduce playback jitter, minimizing errors and vibrations. While the Beach Boys were all about those good vibrations, we certainly don't want our CD playback to follow suit. When that CD's dropped in, I get what I actually intended to hear, and I also tend to listen more in depth than I would if I'm simply just searching for the next greatest hit to bounce to. We're all a little guilty of that, right? Taking a closer look at this servo system, it's kind of a fun design, a lot of physical interaction, handling and loading the discs. In some ways it feels similar to the vinyl experience. Maybe that's part of the reason CDs are making a big push again. It's almost like cheaper vinyl. What's good about this somewhat unique setup, other than the frankly cool look, it's actually a performance-focused product. Like I mentioned, building around that precision disc reading by minimizing any mechanical vibrations through that custom dampener that they have in play here. Before we go into reason 3, I just want to give you guys an idea of what it's like to operate this PL200T, because that's really important. how it is to actually use the product. First, you just take this clear acrylic lid off here, which, by the way, I really like the look of this over the solid aluminum offering that was on the previous PL200. I wonder if those PL200 users could actually swap over to this one. That'd be kind of a cool upgrade. I like to see the discs spin on those. After that, you simply pull this magnet out as well. Then you can just drop your disc in. Put this magnetic stabilizer on top of the disc, and then seal it up with the lid. It reads the disc really quickly and displays it all out on this really easy to read screen, and you're ready to go. And what I like about that screen is the font is actually really large on it. They make it easy to read from quite a long ways away. The stability on this unit is actually impressive. I can actually tap on this one pretty hard without a single skip. You practically have to hit it to get a legitimate skip here. I mean, this thing's kind of earthquake proof. As far as usability, the buttons on the side here work great and have a nice tactile feel. It's sort of like a piano key. And then thankfully you do get a remote as well, which is what's gonna open this one up beyond the desktop duties. The remote isn't anything to write home about. You know, it's just kind of the simple, typical plastic little remote. What could really step this product up would be a nice matching aluminum remote. I'd really like to see that. On to number 3, improved listening habits. I touched on this one a minute ago, but I just want to dig a little bit deeper into this one because I know that I'm certainly guilty of it. When I'm streaming, unless I have a playlist up, it's almost as if I'm doom scrolling like an Instagram or TikTok account. Side note, I've actually never been on TikTok, and I think I'm glad to say that. Is there anyone else out there? Let me know down below. Basically, it goes something like this. I'm playing a song I really like, everything is great, and then it gets to be about halfway through, and immediately my head starts thinking, what's next? Basically, I miss out on the last 25% of the song because I'm just lining up the next one. And I know I could just let the app pick that for me based on my listening habits, or possibly even better yet, really focus out on, building real playlists, which I do have a lot of playlists, but you can't have a playlist for every single way that you're feeling, that changes day to day. I tend to listen on my current feels, and I may not want to hear the same genre that I listened to the previous day. I may go from hard rock, alternative, acoustic, even live. I guess I just don't want to give up the full control, and we don't have to with streaming, but it's just a touch simpler with physical media to avoid this in general. I think it's a healthy change of pace to bring out the CDs from time to time, even if you're a heavy streamer, just to bring back that full album experience. Really key in on some of the artist's intended track sequences, and just try to improve the musical appreciation in general. Thankfully, my truck still has a CD player, and I just like to take a few CDs with me at a time, and while I don't listen to the entire album at once, unless it's a really long drive, I do let them play out in their entirety over several drives. The first landing spot for this PL200T was at my desk because, well, why not? It fits the space perfect, and while most likely streaming is gonna be what's occurring at most desks, well, because it's easier, there's no reason not to bring a CD player into the fold. They can really work just as well. The PL200T has plenty of flexibility for this type of situation too. You can power this with DC, USB, or AC input for the typical home setup. When I first started testing, like I said, I had this one on the desk and it actually worked out perfect. But I think this one could easily fit into the dedicated 2-channel config as well. I'm typically the full-size gear type of guy, for my main listening space anyways, and I guess I'm not sure why, but I do it, and that's just the way it is. But this one caught my eye because at the moment I'm testing 3 large pieces of gear across my top shelf on my media cabinet. The Eversolo DMP-A10, the Hagel D50, and running that through my Audiolab 9000A integrated. A CD player like this PL200T fits basically anywhere, and it actually looks good enough that you don't want to hide it away either. It has an all aluminum case. There's a heavy weight to it, so it's not going to be one of those devices that slides all over the place, or even worse, when the cable connections are heavy and it has the product doing a wheelie. On some of those little DACs, that's kind of the worst. I like the waves at the bottom here. It adds a nice touch. It takes it a step beyond just the little box. It has a tempered glass display that's very clear, and that's where you go for, track info. But beyond that, the settings for playback options like MQA decoding, along with several of the other features I have on display here. As I mentioned earlier, the acrylic CD lid definitely does fit that cool factor on this one. I really like the look. Sure, it's not as simple as a tray, but what they have going on here with this servo is truly effective for playback. Reason number 4, one reason this all might disappear, disc rot. I've personally never dealt with disc rot before in all my years of owning CDs, but it's out there and it's something you should at least be aware of. there is the possibility that your CD collection could eventually start to fail. There's also a strong possibility that they last the next 100 years and beyond. But there's a few things that I want to touch on that might influence that. You really want to store all of your CDs in their cases in a vertical orientation, away from direct UV light coming in from windows. We can't exactly apply sunscreen to our collection, and without a doubt, the sun's UV rays degrade everything in its path. It's safe to say that, this is potentially breaking down some of the material here, and it could eventually lead to a failure. Another to keep in mind is keep them in a cool and dry environment. Heat and humidity are the enemy for most things, as it just speeds up decomposition of materials. As most of you are keeping these in your house, it's probably not going to be an issue. I would say the most problematic area would be for those who still keep binders of CDs in their car. That can reach extreme temps in the summer. Even then, think of all the people who used to do exactly that, and the failure rate still appears to be extremely low. Understand also that your burn discs are going to fail faster than the commercially created albums. A number of things here. It could be a chemical reaction from the use of permanent markers, or something in the disc film just tends to oxidize faster on these. So I guess your Summer Jams 1995 album might be at risk here. Better burn another copy of Slow Jams before your time runs out. Your wife is depending on it. And finally, don't over-concern yourself here. Many people who have collections from the original days of CDs still have no failures to date. It may be an overblown topic that gained focus through online forums during a brief period of high failures. Many think this can be actually pinned down to a particular pressing plant in the early 90s. In all likelihood, that CD collection is still going to be spinning 100 years from now. So where do we go here? CDs are great, streaming is great, vinyl's still great. Keep your options open and experiment with different playback mediums. It can be a lot of fun, and if you're looking for a CD transport that's priced fairly and functions really well, check out my links in the description for the SMSL PL200T. If you're looking for more of a portable CD player option, check out the one I did on the DM13 a few weeks back. That's another fun one in this space. As always, I appreciate you making it this far. Please like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep this content coming. Take care, talk soon, later.